The Ernie Ball Music Man Cutlass RS HSS guitar. I've had it for a little over a month now, and all I can say is, wow. It has been a pleasure playing this guitar. Now, I've already done a 1 week review of this guitar, and if you haven't seen that video, I'll leave a link to it in the description of this one. But I just wanted to share more about it with you, and then talk about some things that I've noticed since playing it, and also just address the price that it goes for new, and share some more sound clips with you. So, real quick, let's get out of the way. In my previous video, I mentioned that there wasn't really anything that I disliked about the guitar. And while that was true, I did notice that there was one thing since playing it more. If you're playing in a seated position like this and your guitar is horizontal, I've noticed that while wearing sweatpants and gym shorts, the guitar tends to slip a little bit. And I don't have that issue when I wear jeans, but I also noticed the same thing happening with my Harmony Silhouette. So just take what you will with that information. I don't really care too much about that because I usually play with the guitar in between my legs in a more upright position, and I have the strap around my shoulder as well. So that's not a big deal for me, but that's just something that I wanted to mention in case that's a big deal for you. Now, I am just going to move this guitar out of the way because I realize that it's a gloss finish and the pickguard is also reflective, and I have a light coming down at me, so I don't want it to reflect back in your face. So with that being said, that is one thing that I noticed about the guitar that I thought was worth mentioning. But still, I think it's a really good guitar. It just oozes and feels premium. And real quick, I just want to talk about a question that you might be having. Should I buy this guitar, or why should I buy this guitar? And I'd say I'm not going to answer why you should buy it because I'm not trying to sell you on it. But what I am just trying to say is I think it's a great guitar. I think it's a great HSS guitar if you're looking for that. And this is coming from someone who primarily plays dual humbucker guitars and has a background in playing heavier music. And this guitar can do heavier music as well. I'll showcase that later in some of the clips that I have. But if you think like, oh, this guitar, you can just only play old style music on it, that's not the case. You definitely can play more modern music on it if you'd like. And yeah, the fret ends feel nice and smooth, like I said in my initial review video, and everything is just super comfortable. And the big thing for me while picking this guitar up was it only has one volume knob and one tone knob. It doesn't have the volume knob and then two tone knobs. And the reason why, again, that I like that is because it pushes the volume knob further away from the bridge pickup, so I don't bump it when I'm palm muting. And actually, speaking of palm muting and speaking of my background with dual humbucker guitars, I will admit that there was a little bit of a learning curve. I'm used to strumming in the space between the two pickups, so having a middle pickup, it took me a little bit to get used to it because I was bumping it, especially while palm muting, playing riffs, and that's okay, though. It's just part of the learning process and trying out a different guitar with different pickup configurations. So if you're not used to that style of guitar, then just be prepared for that as well. And I've also noticed that sometimes I strum in between the neck and middle position pickups, and that is also a lot of fun too. So I can't speak highly enough about this guitar. So with all of that being said, I want to share some sound clips with you now. And my signal chain is the guitar going into the Horizon Devices Clarity compressor, which is then going into my Universal Audio Volt 2 interface. And I'm using the Neural DSP Archetype Plini X for all of the tones. one thing that I've learned from owning this guitar now, and it's just something that I wanted to share with you in case you're in the same boat. If you really want a guitar and it is at a price that may seem like it's a bit much, but it is not going to put you in jeopardy financially, I should say, I would just recommend to go ahead and just get that guitar. Because what I did was I wanted a Music Man Cutlass, and this was in around 2020, and that's when I got my first Cutlass guitar. And then I ended up returning it for a couple of different reasons. I'm not going to go into that now because I already covered that in my initial review video, but I ended up returning that guitar. And along the way, between then and now, I had two other HSS guitars because I really wanted a guitar with that pickup configuration. The first one was a Balugair Toro Classic, and it was like a limited run. It was sky blue, roasted maple neck, and fingerboard stainless steel frets, and was like a fraction of the cost of this guitar. And while it was a really good guitar and it played quite well, there's just something about it that I didn't quite gel with. And this will play a big part in a second. So I ended up getting an Ibanez Q something. So it was a headless HSS guitar by Ibanez in Seafoam Green. And again, that was a two birds, one stone guitar for me because I wanted a guitar with an HSS pickup configuration, but I also wanted a headless guitar. And this was before I got the Strandberg guitar that I have now. So I was like, cool, two birds, one stone. And it was under $1,000 that I got it for. And again, I got it, but there was just something about it and I wasn't quite gelling with it. Well, I realized it was because I was really just looking for a Music Man Cutlass, but I was looking for it in a different form factor. So how many of you have done this where you want something, you see something and you want it, and then you look at the price and then you're instantly like, I'm not paying that much for that thing. And so what you'll do is you'll look for things that are very similar to it and then find it at a price point that you're fine with paying, and then you'll just get that. And sometimes it works out and you're happy with what you got, but other times you're like, I'm not happy with this, and then you'll do it again and look for something similar, and then you'll do it again, and then all of that money that you've spent, it was just kind of wasted, if you would say. You would have just been better off just getting the thing that you initially wanted. So that's what happened with this guitar and those other HSS guitars that I tried. That's not a slight against the Balugair or the Ibanez because both of those guitars were fantastic instruments. It's just not what I wanted at the time. And that would be the lesson that I have, or the discovery, whatever that you want to call it, the recommendation. I would just say, if you really want a guitar and it's in a price point that may seem like it's a little out of reach, but you can swing it financially and it's not going to hurt you or any of your loved ones, then I would say go for it. And just going along with the price a little bit, yes, I do realize that Music Man guitars, they're handmade in the USA and they have premium appointments, and those guitars you're looking at paying over $2,000. I think all of their guitars new are over $2,000. I don't know about their basses, but all of their electric guitars are, I believe, over $2,000. Let me know if I'm incorrect on that. But a lot of people will look at that and say, wow, that's really expensive for a guitar. I don't like to say things are expensive or inexpensive, and I realize I made a video about consider 3 things when you're buying an expensive guitar, but I've since learned from then. My views have changed a little bit. I don't like saying expensive because that's going to differ by person, and to me it's just the cost of the guitar is the cost of the guitar, and whether or not you value that is up to you, but it's just that's how much it costs. I think there are guitars that cost way more than this, and I am completely happy with this, so I wouldn't pay more to get what I'm looking for, but I think that this guitar is worth more than the price that they're asking for personally, and I know that may seem a bit outlandish to say, but that's just my personal take on it. But the neck feels amazing. That's part of the reason why I got the guitar, because I was just really impressed with how they do their necks. I love the oil and wax finish that they do on the necks, as well as the flame job that they do as well. I think visually it looks great and it feels amazing as well. The neck is a little bit on the thinner side, just so you're aware. That doesn't bother me, but if you're against thin necks, then maybe this guitar isn't for you, but still give it a try, see if you like it. So this has been my 1-month review of the Ernie Ball Music Man Cutlass RS. Let me know if you have any questions about it. I love talking about gear, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. And if I don't know the answer to it, maybe it's something that I can look up and I've learned something new about it. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, stay cool like a cloud and have a great day.